Whether it's in video games or movies and TV shows, there is a running theme of creatives villainizing femininity, which I hate. As a woman, I love seeing strong yet beautiful women on screen, and that shouldn't be a problem. We've also seen men be feminized and demasculinized, and the excuse is modern audiences want to see that in entertainment. But now the MCU actress Evangeline Lilly has called out companies and society for doing these things. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or supporter via YouTube memberships. So starting with this Fox News article, the Ant-Man actress says society is villainizing masculinity and applauding femininity in men. Lost in Ant-Man and the Wasp actress Evangeline Lilly is speaking out against what she believes is society's current push to feminize men and masculinize women. And I have talked about this quite a bit on the channel. It is something that is definitely happening in entertainment, and I completely disagree with it happening. In a lengthy Instagram post shared Thursday, the actress and mother pondered the ways that the culture has decided to try and make men less manly and women less feminine. She mentioned her frustration over people vilifying traditional depictions of tough guys wearing boots, driving trucks, and fighting people, while loving it if women do those things instead. Now, I of course think that it is perfectly fine to have more feminine men in entertainment and more masculinized women in entertainment, right? But they are villainizing the traditional characters that we have seen for years. I mean, they are villainizing manly men and, feminine women, which I think is awful. Now, a lot of people on social media are talking about why would she do this? Why would she come out and make these statements? She could potentially kill her career because unfortunately Hollywood doesn't like when people speak out against what they are doing. But she has already, unfortunately for her, kind of been canceled in the past. Yes, she has been in the MCU more recently, but she even declined another kind of film at Marvel because, of course, she has been attacked so many times. She reportedly exited a new movie, and this was all, only back in March, and apparently they wanted to do another movie after Quantumania, and she said that she would not join it, and she has been canceled in the past, primarily because of her, opinions on COVID. She has become an outspoken, critic on social media of it, not backing down with her controversial critiques of the COVID-19 mandates, took her latest shot at the culture while sharing a serene image of her enjoying sights in Egypt. She has been someone who in the past has said people should not be forced to do things like wear masks, which of course I agree with, but that was a couple of years ago during the height of COVID. But it doesn't really matter, right? Because the internet never forgets, and the people who want her canceled will now always want her canceled, and she is feeling like she can just come out and say whatever she wants, and I applaud her for that. Unfortunately, it is a belief by the creatives behind these projects who think that this is what modern audiences want to see. And I think it is great to provide some stories where characters are like this, right? But I want to see traditional stories and traditional characters as well. One of the more recent topics that kind of falls under this is Dungeons and Dragons. The D&D movie intentionally emasculated its leading men, and they did, they emasculated the men, they propped up the women, like all of the fighters in the movie were the women, and the men just kind of stood around acting like, oh hey, what are we gonna do? We have to have the women save us. And the movie wasn't a bad movie overall, but you could definitely see what they were trying to do. And I mean, the writers even admitted that they intentionally did this, and they wanted to put the women on the front lines and have the men just kind of stand behind them waiting for the girls to do the tough work. And of course, after she made this statement and came out and said these things, people on social media have been praising her. Geeks and Gamers had made a tweet about it, and the comments section is filled with people saying this is a great statement by a very bold woman because, again, she probably knows that she's gonna take shit by creatives over this. Brave. I love it. Someone in Hollywood gets it for once. Base Lilly, she speaks fact, about time, what a woman. And another situation we saw back in 2022 was Ana de Armas come out and speak about similar things in Hollywood. Now, she was talking about gender swaps, right? But it still all matters. It's brave women coming out, even though they could take a lot of heat and even be removed from projects. She pushed back against the gender swapping of James Bond idea that was floating around. There shouldn't be any need to steal someone else's character, and she stood firm behind a statement where she simply said that we should just be creating new characters. We shouldn't be erasing men. We shouldn't be taking them out of their roles to make way for women characters. Women deserve their own new, unique roles. And it's not like there haven't been women in the James Bond franchise before that have been important. Of course, there have been several, in fact, but she was very vocal on her thoughts about gender swapping, saying that it's not okay. You shouldn't be gender swapping characters. She said that there's no need for a female Bond. There shouldn't be any need to steal someone else's character and, just to take over. This is a novel and it leads into this James Bond world, and this is a fantasy of that universe where he is at. What I would like is that the female roles in the Bond films, even though Bond will continue to be a man, are brought to life in a different way. That they're given a more substantial part and recognition, and that's what I think is more interesting than flipping things. And I completely agree. Men should not be erased. Femininity should not be villainized in women. All these different things. Now, I've said it before, and it's only fair to say it again. I was never the biggest fan of the Wasp character that Evangeline Lilly plays in the MCU. I felt like the Ant-Man movies just kind of went in a wacky direction. The first one was good, but the second and third, in my opinion, were just not great. I wasn't a big fan of them, but it is what it is. I do, though, support her as an actress, and I do think that it is great that she is making these statements and that she is coming out and willing to fight against the very things that we are seeing happening in all of our entertainment. And I'm sure that she's going to make other statements like this in the future because she is getting a boatload of attention right now, and good for her. But it is very rare that we see a woman come out and say something that could jeopardize the position that she has in an industry, especially like Hollywood, where if you do one thing or say one thing that they don't like, they are willing to blacklist you and not work with you again. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.